All right, baby boos. So, today we're talking about the Tudor siblings. The other day we talked about the Tudor family, but it was more King Henry VIII and his wives. So now we're talking about King Henry's children. So, after King Henry VIII dies, Edward takes over, and that's in 1547. He's almost 10 when he takes over, so he's 9 years old, and he rules for 6 years. He somehow gets smallpox. He's like always a sickly, weaker type child, and he dies. Poor Edward. None of his reign was really super relevant or anything. He kind of had like a group of advisors who did mostly everything for him. Some people think he may have been poisoned or that his advisors may have thought that they were going to take over next, considering Edward was the only son. Mary was, considered illegitimate at one point. Elizabeth's mom, everybody said, was a whore, so they were like not sure if possibly that his advisors had plotted and got him ill on purpose. But lo and behold, the next ruler is Bloody Mary. She takes over in 1533 after Edward's death. So Mary takes over and she restores Catholicism. It's the very first thing she does. Remember, King Henry had changed the religion of England from Catholic to Protestant just to get a divorce from Catherine of Aragon, who is Mary's mother. So Mary was baptized as a Catholic, she was raised as a Catholic, and she was like, screw it, I'm going to convert England back to Catholic. That's England's true religion. My dad is a nutcase. He did it just to marry that Anne Boleyn, and she switches the religion back. So Mary, this is her right here. Mary's Philip of Spain. He is the king of Spain and he also rules the Netherlands. So now that she is the queen of England, they get married and boom, they rule Spain and the Netherlands and England. They're like a superpower. They're Catholic and they're like here to do what they want, start like a huge family line. They're trying to have all these babies so they can rule England forever. And they demand every single person in England must practice the Catholic religion. If they find you practicing the Protestant religion, Mary is literally pulling them out of churches, tying them to the stake in the middle of the city, burning them alive. That's how she gets her name, Bloody Mary. She is not here for none of that Protestant religion. So these are just reminders, reasons that Mary is fed up with England. One, because Henry changed the religion just to get a divorce from her mom. She felt like England should have stuck by her side and remained loyal to her and her mom and not just let Anne Boleyn sweep in as a homewrecker and change the religion with Henry. After the Great Divorce, when Queen Elizabeth was born, Anne Boleyn started freaking out because at that point, Edward wasn't born. Henry only had daughters. So Anne Boleyn convinced Henry to declare Mary as an illegitimate child because he had divorced her mother, making it that she couldn't get claim to the throne. So she got to live in the castle for a certain point, but she was playing like a servant, like a nasty stepsister type thing to Queen Elizabeth. So she really didn't like Elizabeth all that much. She kind of probably was jealous of her. And then after Anne's death, Jane Seymour, who is Edward's mom, told Henry, like, yo, this is your daughter. We need to clear things up. She's just as much of a child as any of these other ones you've had. And he agrees. He says, all right, I'll claim Mary, but she has to acknowledge me as the head of the Church of England. She does it reluctantly. She's like, whatever, let me suck it up so I can, be a part of this family. But she never really messes with Elizabeth or with Henry. She don't like him. And she is just over all of it. So now, poor Mary, she dies in 1553. That's when she took the throne. She was 37. Her and Philip were trying to have kids, but they didn't have any. They think that Mary actually died from some kind of like ovarian cancer, and Elizabeth takes the throne next. There's no kids, so, if she would have had a son with Philip, that kid would have been named like the new ruler, but they didn't have no kids, no heirs to the throne. So Philip is so mad that he no longer rules England. He felt like he had a claim to it. Like, my wife died. Elizabeth's mom was a whore. She shouldn't be able to take the throne. And he expected that him and Bloody Mary were going to rule for a long time, that they were going to have kids, but it was only 5 years. That's not long enough to do anything relevant. So then Philip has this great idea. He's like, hey, I'll just marry Elizabeth. But she was not having that. Elizabeth denied him over and over again. He then decided, okay, Elizabeth isn't going to marry me. I have to get England back. I'm going to pursue Mary, Queen of Scots. She's a cousin to Elizabeth, and they're also really good friends. Elizabeth ends up finding out that her cousin is plotting with Philip, and Elizabeth has her beheaded. Boop, cuts her head off. She's like, y'all not going to play me. So Philip is even more mad. He's like, oh my God, Elizabeth is tripping. I have to do something. And he's like, all right, I'm going to try one more time to propose to her. Like, just one last time. Maybe she'll give in. But Elizabeth sends back a cannonball in return. It's like, yeah, if you want me, if you want England, you're going to have to come kill me. And you're going to have to take England. I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to make this easy. So Philip is just out here getting played by Elizabeth. So now Elizabeth is ruling. Things are going okay. He's increasingly angry. Aside from her killing Mary, Queen of Scots, and sending the cannonball to Philip, she did another thing that has to do with religion that really set him off. So remember, Philip, when he was married to Bloody Mary, they converted England back to Catholicism. Spain was also a Catholic nation at that time. So Elizabeth, she wasn't raised Catholic. She literally is like, England, we're going back to Protestant, just like Henry had done, just like my mother Anne Boleyn had done. We're going to remain a Protestant nation. So now Philip thinks that England is a huge threat to not only Spain, but that they're a threat to the Catholic religion. So that's his last straw. Can't deal with her. He has had enough, and he declares war on Elizabeth. These are the 1, 2, 5, 6-ish main reasons. You can read these yourself. I don't think there's a blank for them on the classwork. I'm also going to put a link to this Prezi, I guess, if you weren't pausing as I was going. I'll put a link up so you can go through it on your own to find the classwork answers. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the Spanish Armada, which is Spain's unbeatable, super powerful navy. And yeah, good stuff.